Hey guys, and welcome to my March book haul. This book haul has kind of accumulated over the last several weeks from various different sources, and there's several things to get through, so I'm just going to jump right into it. A couple weeks ago, Giselle and I went over to Boston to hang out with Steve again, Steve Donahue, who mentioned it several times, and we went to the Harvard bookstore, which of course we vlogged, and when we were there, we only got a few different things. Giselle, I think, got a couple more things, but these are the things that I'm mostly interested in that we got there. And the first thing is Manners and Mutiny by Gail Carriger. This is the fourth finishing school book. I just read the first one, Etiquette and Espionage, last week or the week before that, and I liked it. I really like Gail Carriger's writing, and I really like the Au Pair Assault Protectorate series, so we had to get this. Really hoping to get to the second one really soon, and then eventually, of course, I'll end up with this one. This one's actually a signed and autographed copy as well. So there's her signature right there. And yeah, we saw this and couldn't pass it up because why not? It was autographed book for pretty inexpensive. And we saw these mass market paperbacks that Steve actually suggested that we get because he said they were good. And the first one is called The Borables by Michael de Larrabite. And this cover is absolutely ridiculous. I hope you can see that because wow. And let me focus in on that. Yeah, take a look at that. I mean, I can't cover up the kid's face. Absolutely not. That's the most important part. Well, it's one of the most important parts. Anyway, I don't know anything about this, but Steve told us we should get it. And then we also got this, Flight of the Wren-Shy by Mickey Zucker-Reichart. We actually have one of her other books. We got one of her other books at a thrift store not too long ago, a few months ago. And this one is the first in a series, so that's great. That means we can actually start and read this one. Haven't heard Mickey Zucker-Reichart be talked about that much, but Steve actually said that he actually used to know her, which is quite interesting, and he was surprised that she hadn't taken off quite as much as she should have. So we were really glad to have this great little fantasy mass market paperback. Not too long after that, and I did open this on the vlog, the author sent me this book, The Dragon's Blade, The Reborn King by Michael R. Miller, and Michael was kind of sent this to me, asked me if I wanted a review copy of it, and I said absolutely. I've seen other booktubers get this and talk about it. I know that Caitlin's gotten it, Connor's gotten it, Sam got it, and yeah, I just really was interested in getting this and giving it a shot. This is the next physical book that I'm going to read as soon as I'm done with the ones that I'm reading right now. I'd really like to read it soon and do a full video review on it. It seems to be about dragons who underwent some sort of transformation that gave them human form, which definitely sounds intriguing. And then Giselle and I went to a thrift store a couple weeks ago, and because we do that periodically, as people that watch the vlog will know, we just randomly like to go to these two specific thrift stores that are near us and scout out for books, because the books that are there are always changing and they're always adding new things. And the very first thing that I got is a paperback edition of In the Woods by Tana French. I've read this already. I've actually read all of the books in the series that are out already, the Double Murder Squad series. I've read all 5 of them already. I listened to all of them, and I said this before when I got the third book, Fateful Place, in paperback, that I would really like to collect all of these in these editions, because a lot of these books that I'm listening to right now on audiobook, I know someday I'm going to want to reread, and when I do reread them, I want to read them physically so I can get that experience as well. So this is just one of those series where I definitely want to get all the physical editions, so I can do that someday. And the next book that I got there was Tears of the Giraffe by Alexander McCall Smith. This is the second book in the #1 Ladies Detective Agency series, which I did show in a haul. That was also a wrap-up video. I did like a wrap-up and a little bit of a haul because I didn't have a ton of books to haul and just did it in the wrap-up video. But I showed that in there, and we just found this one in perfect condition, and I really want to read that series, so I thought I might as well get it because it's the second one and I need it. And then I also got Humpty Dumpty in Oakland by Philip K. Dick. I have not read anything by Philip K. Dick yet, but I really want to. I've heard him talked about quite a lot. This is not one specifically that I know a whole lot about, but the front does says it's a kind of pulp fiction Kafka, which sounds super awesome to me. Philip K. Dick is just one of those authors that is very high up on my to-read list. And speaking of authors that are up high on my to-read list, Haruki Murakami is one of them. So I found this at that thrift store and got it. It is the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle by Haruki Murakami. I honestly don't know that much about this one, which kind of makes me want to read it before some of his other ones that I have heard more about. I've just heard so much about him that I am really intrigued to read him, but I would definitely rather read something that I haven't heard more about specifically. So I was really happy when I saw this and just had to pick it up. And then I have been searching every single time I go to any sort of thrift store or bookstore for some sort of new mystery series to start and read. And at this thrift store, I got extremely lucky and found 5 of the first 6 books in the series. All that's missing is the first one, which is so sad. I really want the first one a lot, so I can start reading this series. This is a series that if I were able to get the first one, I really want to start reading it right away. But because they had all of the other ones in perfect condition, and it just in all the same edition, I just had to get them. So it is the Chief Inspector Gamache novels by Louise Penny. The first one is called Still Life, and the second one is called A Fatal Grace, and then the third one is The Cruelest Month, and then the fourth one is A Rule Against Murder. The fifth one is The Brutal Telling, and the sixth one is Bury Your Dead. So I love those covers. I love those editions of these. They sound right up my alley in regards to mystery stuff, and I can't wait to find the first one so I can start reading them. And so in an attempt to go out and find the first one, a few days later Giselle and I went to another thrift store and went and searched to see if they would possibly have the first one there, and they didn't. It was a very long shot to even hope that would happen, and it didn't happen. But that's okay, because I did find a couple of things that I was interested in. By the way, at all of these places, Giselle found a bunch of stuff, a bunch of really interesting stuff too, that I'm not necessarily that interested in, but she's really interested in. So there's been cards popping up all of this video for the vlogs where we went book hunting and shopping and stuff. So go check those out to see the kinds of things that she picked up. And I'm sure she'll have some hauls for all that stuff on her channel very soon as well. But at this thrift store, instead of finding the first book in that series, I was able to find another story that I'm really interested in, and that is called Morality Play by Barry Unsworth. This was a book that was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize sometime in the 90s, and it's really short, and it's a murder mystery story set in the 14th century. I couldn't remember what century, but it's the 14th century, and it sounds really great, and I didn't know anything about it when I picked it up, but when I read the back, I was like, yes, I need to get this. And I was also able to pick up, and I'm so happy about this, I was able to find Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell in perfect condition for like a couple of dollars. This thrift store that we went to it a few weeks beforehand, and they had a really beat up edition of this, the same edition but really beat up, and then when we went back at this time, we found this one in perfect condition, which made me really happy. I just read at the end of last year Slade House and Bone Clocks by David Mitchell, and really liked both of them. And obviously I need to go ahead and read his most famous work now, Cloud Atlas, and I am hoping to read this soon so I can get some more of David Mitchell, because his writing really did a lot for me. And then the last book that I'm going to show is, we got the same place, is Joan DeVinge's Dreamfall. This is the third book in a series called the Cat series. We don't have the other ones, and we didn't know that was what it was when we got it. The cover is just so cool. We had to get it. And Joan DeVinge is an author we've been looking for. I read some of her husband's work. I read his Zones of Thought series and Rainbow's End, and I talked about both on here. And we've been looking for The Snow Queen by Joan DeVinge. We had The Summer Queen. We've been looking for The Snow Queen so we can have both those books and read both of them. But we saw this one and saw it was by her, and we decided to get it because it's beautiful, and we're going to get to it eventually. So anyway, that's everything that I've gotten in March, at least so far. I think this weekend is Easter weekend, and Giselle and I are going to be back in Maryland with my family for Easter weekend, and I think we're going to be going to do some book shopping, so, you know, stay tuned for that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have anything to say about anything that I showed in this video, please let me know. I'd love to hear any thoughts that you have. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with more.